Okay, so now that you have your color wheel labeled in the correct order, we're ready to start painting our primaries, secondaries, and intermediates. So the first thing that you're going to do is get a paint tray, and we're just putting our primary colors and black and white in our paint trays. So we have red, blue, and yellow for our primary colors, and then we're going to be using black and white to create the tints and shades. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to start off with our primaries. So I know I'm going to paint red, yellow, and blue first, and I'm only going to paint the primaries right now. So I'm going to start off with red, and I get to paint straight from the tray. You guys are going to be sharing these trays with a partner, and if you have 3 people at your table, then you'll have 2 trays. Okay, so I get to paint, like I said, straight from the bottle red. This is my hue right here, so the hue is going to go in the middle, and I'm going to use the tip of my paintbrush to go around the edges. Now, if you accidentally get paint on the outside, I don't take points off for that, but if you're not using the tip of your paintbrush and you're not even trying to make this look really nice and have good craftsmanship, then I take points off for that. So again, you want to use the tip of your paintbrush to go around the edges, not the back side, so I need to turn this when I'm ready. I can turn my paper too if I need to. Okay, then I can go a little bit faster on the inside. Now this is tempera paint. This is not going to stain your clothes, but if you don't want paint on your clothes, I do have aprons on the kiln room door. If you guys want to use those, you can. Just make sure you hang them up at the end of the day. It's a little bit transparent, so it's not going to be completely smooth, and that's okay. All right, so now I've got my hue on here. Now I'm ready to start mixing my shade, okay, and my tint. We're going to do tint first. All right, so when we mix colors, we're going to be doing it on the magazine paper. Never, ever, ever mix in the tray. So I'm going to put a little bit of red, since I already have red paint on here. I'm going to put it over on this magazine paper. Then I'm going to wash out my brush, and this next step is very important. Don't take a brush with water dripping from it and stick it into the paint in the paint tray. You're going to contaminate the paint. You're going to be using this paint, you and your partner. You won't be able to wash out your tray at the end of the day. You're going to be using this for the entire project. So the way that you treat this is how nice your paint is going to be when you guys are getting it the next day. Okay, so I've washed it out, I've dried it. Now I'm going to scoop up some white and put it on my magazine paper. I'm going to get 2 scoops. Okay, now white is taken over very, very quickly by color. So you always start off with the pile of white and add a little drop of your color. So I just barely put a little bit of red on my paintbrush. Okay, it's going to change the color very, very quickly. And now I have my tint. Any change in the hue that makes it lighter is a tint. So if I'm lighter than this area right here, this is a tint of red. So what do you guys notice about the tint of red? It's pink. Okay, so yes, pink is a tint of red. And some of you guys will have darker tints and some of you guys will have lighter tints. Everybody's will be a little bit different, and that's fine. So again, I'm going to use the tip of my paintbrush. I'm going to paint around the edges here. Okay, now I'm going to wash out my paintbrush, dry it off, and we're going to make the shade. I cannot use this pile right here for the shade because I don't want the black and white mixing together. I need a little bit more red because for the shade, I'm going to start off with a pile of red. And I'm going to add just a little bit of black. Black takes over a color very, very quickly. It's the opposite of white. So I'm going to bring a little bit of black over here, and I kind of wipe my brush because I can always add more, but I can't take away the black out of the pile. So I'm going to mix it into the red. I might add just a little bit more, so I'm going to add a little bit more of that black in there. Okay, so any time that you're making a shade, it just needs to be darker than the hue. So if it's darker than the hue, it's a shade. So instead of constantly asking the teacher, oh my gosh, is this a shade? Is this a tint? Is it lighter than your hue? Okay, is it darker than your hue? Check that first. Okay, so again, I'm going to use the tip of my paintbrush. If you start to run out of paint, what you can do is just barely touch the tip of the paintbrush in water and kind of hydrate the paint that's on your magazine paper. Okay, so once you have the tint and shade and hue for red, then you move on to blue, you move on to yellow, And then when you're ready for intermediates, that's gonna, or excuse me, secondary colors. When we mix two primaries together, we get a secondary color. When you're ready for that, we have a separate video.